Hey guys, welcome to tutorial 4 of the Set for Love weekend. My name is Feedback, so I'm going to be taking you through the next steps on OBS Studio. Let's go. So if you'd followed our previous tutorials, you'll notice at the moment we are currently up to the stage where we've added our text, we've added our overlay, and we've added our webcam. So now we need to look a little bit more into the settings. Okay, so if we go to the settings section at the bottom, click this. Now we go through, we've got multiple options we can use. We've got general, stream, output, audio, video, hotkeys, and advanced. So we are going to, first of all, go through stream. This is already set up. You've done your stream key from the second tutorial, and you've added this. Output. Now this is probably one of the most important sections you could do. As you can see, you have something called video bitrate. Now I personally have a mid to high end gaming PC that I use for a lot of my live streams, and I also have pretty good internet, no real issues. What I would suggest is, to be on the safe side, I would change my video bitrate if my internet isn't that great, or I'm using probably a slightly lower spec laptop. I would probably change the video bitrate to either between 3000 and 4000 kilobits. 4000 is pretty much the regular sort of standard level, but you can turn this down if your system is struggling with the live stream. For this we will leave it at 6 because that's generally where I used to have it. The encoder, you can just leave that as default wherever it's set to. Audio bitrate, this is the quality of the audio that's being put out there. Generally, you can leave it at 160, it's going to sound absolutely fine. If you want to bump it up to 320, then by all means go for it. It will sound better. However, just think about your system. Can it handle playing high quality video and audio? Me personally, if it's a DJ live stream, I would tend to focus more heavily on having better audio bitrate and probably a little bit less of the video bitrate. The recording section you can ignore because you're not recording anything, so it's mainly this streaming section here. If you do wish to record a set instead, then obviously just fill in the section below and click apply. So we've done the video bitrate. Encoder, like I said, leave as default wherever it comes up as. Audio bitrate, I would either go between 160 or 320 depending on your system. Audio, we already know, as I explained in the second tutorial, that the desktop audio speakers or desktop audio section here should mirror your DJ software, because whatever you are putting out from your software to your PC speakers or any other speakers, this is what's going to be picked up by OBS. So wherever it's in this section here, OBS will pick up that particular sound. If you've got multiple things going, webcams or microphones or anything like that, this is where you would add them and you can take them away as needed. There isn't really too much else you need on this section. Like I would say, personally, keep the sample rate to probably 44.1. This tends to be the less disruptive of all of them. Based on, obviously, my system's a little bit higher spec, so I can bump it up to 48. But for now, probably put it down to 41. Video. Now, this is one of the big ones. The base canvas resolution. Okay, so this is the OBS's way of saying what is your current resolution, what is your screen displaying at. 99% of most PCs these days will be displaying at 1920 by 1080. Some laptops might be slightly different and have a different aspect ratio. My aspect ratio is 16.9, so I'm either have 1080 or 720. If I've got a decent PC, I will stream at 1080p, which obviously, as you know, HD, or you can drop it down to 720 HD. Instead, if your PC is maybe not so good or your laptop isn't that powerful, The downscale filter, I'll leave the same. This output scale resolution. Now this needs to mirror whatever the top one is, okay? Because what happens is it takes what your screen is and then it changes it to whatever you've put that figure in there. To get the most streamlined effect, I would advise keeping both of these the same. Or if you're going to change that one, then change this one as well. Just bear in mind when you start changing this, your actual main screen on the back will change and everything will be jiggled around slightly differently. You need to mess around with them. Common FPS values. I would put this at 30. For the most reason being, the average eye cannot see over 30 FPS anyway, and 30 FPS, which is frames per second, tends to be the most easiest on your system and the less disruptive. Hotkeys. For the circumstances of the tutorial, we're not really going to go into hotkeys. This is where you can just do loads of different bits of bobs, but we're not going into that. And then we have the advanced section at the end. Don't really need to do anything here either. We can just leave that as it is and then click OK. Now, going back on from the previous tutorial, we have the webcam setting. So we're going to go to webcam, right click it, and properties. Now, the one thing I'm going to advise you on this is you need to make sure your resolution for the webcam matches, first of all, what the webcam can actually do, and if you can do it the same as your screen, then make sure the resolutions are the same. FPS, I would select to 30, so this will be the same as what you've already had, and I would basically make sure your webcam settings mirror that of the video settings that you set up earlier, basically, just to avoid any sort of mismatch or anything like that. And then click OK. One little tip for you: if you right click the webcam, go to properties, this shows up, click configure video, you will get this little tiny Windows box. I would suggest unticking white balance, bumping it up a little bit. As you can see, my screen is changing. Go right there, about 400. Gives you a nice colour. Camera control, next. Untick focus, autofocus, and click apply, and then go OK. Now what that's just done there is give me a slightly nicer hue, and also if I'm moving it in and out of the camera, it tends to stay pretty static and it isn't going all blurry and switching around on me whilst I'm DJing. So that for the most part is all the settings. And if we went live now, generally shouldn't have any real problems. Got music, overlay, everything's all done. Settings are optimal to our system, and we're all set to go really. So the next tutorial I will cover will be mostly for some little tips and tricks and little things you can do on OBS to add a slightly bit of a creative flair. For the most part, yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching.